Good morning. Welcome back to yet another section of informatics. We are going through the sixth module, computer localization. We already went through the first topic, localization. In localization, we talked about what it is localization, how we can influence the target audience, what it is internationalization, and what it is globalization. These are the main points you should keep it in your mind relating localization. Then we started the second topic, using computers in local languages. In that, INTIC computing, it is very important topic. What it is INTIC computing. Then with the help of Unicode, what are the changes happening. Then after that we also talked about INTIC computing projects. Then there are two types of projects under the government sector and volunteer groups. Under the government sector, TDIL and CDAC. In the case of volunteer groups, Sarovar, Bharatiya 00, Pinak, Angur group. After that, we also talked about advent of Unicode inputting INTIC text. That are in script, then phonetic transliteration. Phonetic transliteration can be broadly classified as fixed transliteration and dictionary based tools. Then we move to the next topic, enabling INTIC language support. Then we talked about Microsoft INTIC language input tool, how we can install and download that Microsoft ILIT. Okay. Then we also talked about how to turn on a language bar. Then we talked about Google input tools on Windows. There we talked about IME. Then how to download and install the Google input tools on Windows. Then we move to the next topic, Google input tools on Chrome. There also we identified how to download and install Google input tools on Chrome. Okay, then we started what it is language packs. Language packs is the third main topic in this module. I think all of you remembered well. LP, it is an extension that changes the language of the user interface in an application. Okay. Then LP is designed for regional markets that do not have full MUI packs. I think all of you remembered well the full form of MUI, multilingual user interface. Multilingual user interface. Actually, LP is designed for regional markets that do not have full MUI packs or fully localized versions of a product. It is an intermediate localized solution that enables computer users to adapt their software to display many commonly used features in their native languages. Okay, then LPs are available for both Windows and Linux platforms. So all of you please take the page number 343. Okay, are you ready with the page number 343? Today we are going to start the next subtopic relating language packs, that it is language packs in Windows 7. Okay. Language pack contain the resources required to translate all or parts of the user interface. User interface, its short form is UI, of a Windows operating system into a specific language. So language pack in Windows 7, this pack contains the resources required to translate all parts of the user interface. Okay, with Windows 7, the multilingual user interface, that it is MUI, technology is core to how Windows is built. So here when we are speaking about the language packs in Windows 7, we can see that MUI is core to how Windows is built. Okay, so they are using MUI technology. It is the core to how Windows is built. In Windows XP and earlier Windows releases, UI resources were packaged together with the code binaries to build language specific versions of the operating system. Now UI resources are separated from the code binaries and packaged in language packs for all languages including English. It is available in all the languages including English. In Windows 7, using this mechanism, language specific versions of the operating system are built by assembling the language neutral code binaries with a language pack that delivers the operating system UI in the desired language. So in Windows 7 we are using the language neutral code binaries. Underline that point. We are using language neutral code binaries with a language pack that delivers the operating system UI, that means the user interface, in the desired language. Okay, so these are the main points relating language packs in Windows 7. In Windows 7 there are two main categories of language packs that are complete language pack and language interface packs. Okay, complete language packs, language interface packs. Both complete language packs and language interface packs are used to localize Windows UI, and both are built the same underlying technology. We can see the similarities between complete language packs and language interface packs. What it is the similarity between them? Yes, both of them are used to localize Windows UI. UI, its full form is user interface. Both are built using the same underlying technology. That it is the common factor we can see in complete language packs and language interface packs. However, there are significant differences between them, mostly related to the localization coverage they provide for the system user interface and licensing rules that apply to them. But at the same time, we can see the differences between them. I already talked about the similarities between complete language packs and language interface packs. I told you both of them are used to localize Windows UI, and both are built using the same underlying technology. But at the same time, we can see the differences between them in the case of their how they provide for the system user interface and the licensing rules that apply to them. Okay, then we can speak about complete language packs. Windows 7 language packs provide a translated version of most of the user interface. A complete language pack includes the complete set of resources. From the title itself we can identify it is the complete language, complete set of resources that comprise the Windows UI. Okay, it includes the complete set of resources that comprise the Windows UI. Since Windows is built by assembling the language neutral OS with language specific language pack, any edition of Windows includes at least one complete language pack. On some editions, the license allows more than one complete language pack to be installed, and each user can select one of the available UI language to match individual preference. So I told you we can see the differences between complete language packs and LIP, relating its user interface and also the licensing rules. In the case of the license, it allows more than one complete language pack to be installed, and each can select one of the available UI language to match individual preference. Underline that point also. Okay. Then if you are running an Ultimate or Enterprise edition of Windows, you can download available language packs by using Windows Update. The link is given here in your textbook, page number 344. So using that you can download and install that language packs. Link is http://windowsmicrosoft.com en in Windows install languages with Windows Update. Language packs installed using Windows Update provide a fully translated version of Windows dialog boxes, menu items and help content. Then we are going to speak about how to download and install the language pack. Okay, the steps are given here in your textbook very clearly. First, open region and language by clicking the start button, clicking control panel, clicking clock language and region, and then clicking region and language. Okay, language. Click the keyboards and languages tab. Under display language, click install or uninstall languages and then follow the steps. If you are promoted for an administrator password or confirmation, type the password or provide confirmation. These are the steps we should go through to install a language pack. First, open region and language, then click the start button, then click the control panel. Then we can see the tabs clock, language and region. From that you please click the region and language. Then click the in that you please click the or select the keyboards and the languages tab. Okay, then under display language, click install or uninstall languages. You can see that. Then follow the steps. Okay, so these are the steps we should follow to install a language pack. Okay, so I think all of you understood what it is complete language packs. Okay, so I told you it includes the complete set of resources that comprise the Windows UI. Okay, then the another speciality of this complete language packs, I told you the license allows more than complete language packs to be installed, and each user can select one of the available UI languages to match individual preferences. Okay, then we already identified how to install this language pack. Okay, then we can move to the next language pack, that it is language interface packs. It is also known as LIP. Okay, then a LIP provides localized resources for the most commonly used UI in the system. It can be considered as a localized skin applied on a Windows system. LIP does not require a license to be installed by the user, and it can be applied on any genuine copy of Windows. That is the speciality. I told you actually it provides localized resources. Then LIP does not require a license. That is the speciality. It does not require a license to be installed by the user. Okay, it can be applied on any genuine copy of Windows because LIPs do not contain the complete set of resources required by the system, just opposite of a complete language packs. Okay, so LIPs do not contain the complete set of resources required by the system. A complete language pack is required to supply any resource not included in the LIP and to ensure the system is functional for the user. Okay, this prerequisite complete language pack is known as the parent language. Underline the this prerequisite complete language pack is known as the parent language. So a parent language provides full UI support for a LIP. Okay, so we can't see the such parent language in complete language packs. It is the speciality we can see only in LIPs, the parent language. So a parent language pack provides full UI support for LIP. Okay, the parts of the UI or help content that are not available in the LIP languages are displayed in the parent language. At the same time, we can see that UI or other content that are not available in the LIP language are displayed in the parent language. Okay, but all these things are available in the case of complete language packs. Then we are going to speak how to download and install language interface packs. We can see that here they already given here the link. Using that link you can install language interface pack. Then what are the steps to install the language interface packs? It is the link www.microsoft.com downloads. Using that link you can install a language interface pack. At first double click the file to open the setup program. Then you can install LIPS over any edition of Windows. Okay, but they provide a translated version of any of only the most widely used dialog boxes, menu items and help content. To install a LIP, you will need to have the required parent language installed on your PC. So when you are going to install a language interface packs in your personal computer, definitely before that you should know that you should require a parent language. First you should install the parent language, then only you can install a LIP in your personal computer. Okay, language packs and LIPs will work only in a genuine copy of Windows 7. That is the another important point. Only in Windows 7 it is possible the language packs and LIPs both will work only in a genuine copy of Windows 7. Okay, so these are the points relating language interface packs. So once again I just talk about language packs in Windows 7. Then I told you in the case of language packs in Windows 7, the multilingual user interface MUI technology is core to how Windows is built. Then in Windows XP and earlier Windows releases, UI resources were packaged together with the code binaries to build language specific versions of the operating system. Okay, in Windows 7, using this mechanism, language specific version of the operating system are built by assembling the language neutral code binaries with a language pack that delivers the operating system UI in the desired language. After that, we talked about in Windows there are two main categories of language packs. Have you remembered the two categories? Yes, first one is complete language packs. The second one is language interface packs. In the case of complete language packs, it includes the complete set of resources that comprise the Windows UI. Before that, I want to speak about there are differences and similarities between complete languages packs and language interface packs. The similarities based on both of them are built using the same underlying technology. Then they are used to localize Windows UI. In the case of differences, we can see that mostly related to the localization coverage they provide for the system user interface and the licensing rules that apply to them. Okay, that are the two differences. I think if you got the idea about two differences and two similarities. The similarities, once again I remind you, localized Windows, how they are using localized Windows UI, and both are built using the same underlying technology. Then differences mostly related to the localization coverage they provide for the system user interface. Then the second one, licensing rules that apply to them. Okay, then I talked about what it is complete language packs. It includes the complete set of resources that comprise the Windows UI. Okay, then we also talked about how to download and install complete language packs. Then the next one is language interface packs, LIP. It provides localized resources for the most commonly used UI in the system. And we also speak about the parent language. Parent language pack provides full UI support for LIP. After that, we also went through how to download LIPs. You don't forget, definitely you should have a parent language installed in your personal computer, then only you can install language interface packs. Okay. So I think all of you got the clear idea about language packs in Windows 7. You don't forget that LPs and LIPs will work only in the genuine copy of Windows 7. Okay. Then we can move to the next topic, page number 345, that it is language packs in Windows 8 and 8.1. Okay, when you install Windows 8, you can first choose a parent language such as English, Chinese, French, German or Japanese, depending on your region. Okay, so that is the important thing. In the case of Windows 8 and 8.1, there also you should install the parent language. For example, English, Chinese, French, Japanese, German. You can select your region language. After you install Windows 8, you can then download and install other languages. Then we are going to speak about how we can install other languages. Okay, the steps already given here with the proper picture in your textbook, page number 345. Okay, first to download and install a language pack, follow these steps. First step, on the start page, type language. So first of all, you start to type language and make sure that the search scope is set to settings. Definitely you are searching for language in settings. Here already the picture they already included. Okay, in the results panel, click or tap language, then we will get results. When you type language, when you click it, you will get the result. In that result, you will get the result for language. Then result panel, click or tap language. Then you can see that there are other things also. From that, you please click the tap language. Okay, then after that, in the change your language preferences pane, click or tap add a language. Then you please select add a language. Okay, then browse or search for language that you want to install. Select the language, then click or tap add. Then you will get a list of languages. We can see the picture clearly in your textbook, page number 346. From that, what language you want, you can select it and you can add. Okay, in the change your language preferences pane, click or tap options next to language that you added. Okay, then after that, again, if you want to change your language preference, definitely you can click the options next to the language. According to that, you can add it. Then if a language pack is available to download for your language, click or tap download and install language pack. Then if you are ready with your language, definitely you can select the button, click the button download. Okay, so we can see that it will be downloaded. Okay, so all the pictures and the steps are clearly included in your textbook. Then when the language pack is installed, the language is displayed as available to use for the Windows display language. Then how we can check that if it is installed or not? So definitely the language is displayed as available to use for the Windows display language. You can see the screenshot of that result in the page number 348. So these are the steps in your textbook. They already gave it in detail with the screenshots of each and every steps. Okay, so go through the textbook carefully. To make this language your display language, move it to the top of your language list. Log off and then log back onto Windows for the change to take effect. Note that the administrator rights are required to install a language pack. If you install many additional language packs, the disk space and system performance are affected. So you should give care to select one more language packs, because if you are selecting more than one languages, definitely it will affect the system performance. Okay, because it will be affected the space, so definitely it will be affected the performance of the system. Okay, so these are the two topics relating the third main topic, language packs. Through the language packs, we also discussed the language packs in Windows 7 and language packs in Windows 8 and 8.1. Okay, so I think all of you got the idea about language packs. Then we can move to the next topic. The topic is fourth topic. It is character encoding. When a word processor user presses a key labeled A on the keyboard, he expects the character A to appear on the screen. He also expects A to appear in paper when he prints the text. He expects the character to be stored as A when he saves the text, and somebody else using a different computer to see this character as A when he sends this text to that computer. Computer can operate only on numbers. So any other input to the computer, including text, has to be converted to numbers before computer processing. So here definitely when we are typing a word A or B, whatever it is, definitely we should expect that we will get the result what we press. Am I right? If you press the key button A, definitely we will expect we will get the letter A in the computer monitor, and if we are going to print the text, definitely we will expect we will get the alphabet A in print. Okay, so computer can operate only on numbers. So any other input to the computer including text has to be converted to numbers before computer processing. So that is the style of computer. It can operate only the numbers. So it should convert the numbers before computer processing. Okay, when we a word processor user types a key in the computer keyboard, the computer system software receive a message that the user pressed a key for A, which it encodes as a number. The word processor stores this number in memory and also passes it on to the display software responsible for putting the character on the screen. The display software, which may be window manager or part of the word processor itself, uses the number as an index to find the image of A, which it draws on the monitor screen. The process continues as the user types in more characters. I think all of you have got the idea clearly. If we press the key A, definitely the computer started the key A, definitely the word processor stores this number in memory. Then they can easily understand that this number is A, and it passes the message to the display software responsible for putting the character on the screen. It is the responsibility of the display software to put the character on the screen. Then the display software, which may be window manager or part of the word processor itself, uses the number as an index to find the image of A, and it draws on the monitor screen. Okay, to be of any use in computers, especially in computer communications and in particular on the World Wide Web, characters must be encoded. Encoding can be loosely defined as mapping between the character of sequences that users manipulate and the sequences of bits that computers manipulate. Actually, what it is encoding? Encoding means convert into a particular form. Okay. So encoding can be loosely defined as mapping. Mapping means transformation. The mappings between the character sequences that users manipulate and the sequences of bits that computers manipulate. Okay, so this is the main point you should keep in your mind relating character encoding. Okay, then we can move to the next subtopic relating character encoding, character encoding process. Okay. So I think all of you understood what it is character encoding, how the computer started to convert to numbers before computer processing. Okay, so we already identified in detail how the message passes to display software and how the display software gives the message to window manager or the word processor. Finally, how they are finding the image of the particular letter. Okay, so we are moving the next topic, character encoding processor. A character set encoding has to satisfy the primary requirement, that of the unambiguous representation of the content of the written text. To make it possible to successfully encode, process and interpret text, a character set must. Okay, so definitely define the smallest useful elements of text to be encoded. The units of encoding, the characters are pragmatically chosen as appropriate to express text and allow various text process. This set is called repertoire. So underline, it is very important what it is repertoire. Actually, the units of encoding, the characters are pragmatically chosen as appropriate to express text and allow various text processes. This set is called repertoire. Assign a unique code to each element of the repertoire. Okay. provide basic rules for encoding and interpreting text so that programs can successfully read and process text. In some cases, the whole encoding process can be collapsed to a single step, a trivial one-to-one mapping from characters to bytes. Because encoded text cannot be interpreted and processed without knowing the encoding. It is vitally important that the character encoding is known at all times and places where text is exchanged or stored. So underline that point. It is very important. In the case of encoding, character encoding, it is very important the places and the times where text is exchanged or stored, that it is very important in character encoding. Mandating a unique encoding has strong virtues of simplicity, efficiency and robustness. Since the unique encoding is known implicitly from usage of such protocol or data format, the protocol or data format does not have to carry character encoding tags. Okay, so these are the main points relating character encoding process. Okay, so I think all of you got the idea about what it is character encoding process. I told you in that repeater it is very important. The units of encoding the characters are pragmatically chosen as appropriate to express text and allow various text processes. This set is called the repeater and assign a unique code to each element of the repeater. Okay. Then these are the main points relating a character encoding process. More than that, it is very important character encoding is known at all times and places where the text is exchanged or stored. Okay, then since the unique encode is known implicitly from usage of such protocol or data format, the protocol or data format does not have to carry character encoding tags. Okay, then we can move to the next topic, that it is character versus glyph. Okay, so we are going to speak about what it is character and what it is glyph. A writing system's alphabet, numbers, punctuation and other writing marks consist of characters. So underline, I think all of you know it well, the alphabet, numbers, punctuation marks, writing marks, all these are consist of characters. A character is a symbolic representation of an element of writing system. It may be a letter, symbol or number. Okay, that it is a character. Then what it is glyph? As soon as we write a character, it is no longer abstract but it is concrete. Characters are very concrete. Then the exact shape by which the character is represented on screen and paper is called glyph. All of you got it? Once again I repeat, character is the symbolic representation of an element of a writing system. It may be a letter, symbol or number. Then what it is glyph? The exact shape by which the character is represented on screen and paper is called glyph. I think the idea is clear. Okay. So it is very important what it is character and what it is glyph. They are the components used to generate the visible representation of characters. Glyphs need not correspond one-to-one with the characters. A single character can be represented by multiple glyphs and a single glyph can represent multiple characters. So definitely a single character can be represented by using multiple glyphs. Like that, a single glyph can represent using multiple characters. Just like characters are the basic unit of organization of encoded text, glyphs are the basic unit of organization of the visual rendering text. Underline that. So glyphs are the basic unit of organization of the visual rendering text. The character sets that are stored in the computer are independent of the display format. The character sets and the font or glyph are defined separately, and there not to be one-to-one relationship between them. In the case of character, it can be stored in the computer are independent of the display format. But in the case of the character sets and the font or glyph, glyph are defined separately, and there not to be a one-to-one relationship between them. Then what it is font? A font is a collection of glyphs all of similar design that constitute one way to represent the characters of the language. I think you are very familiar with the font. When you are typing an assignment, definitely you should use the font style. So you are very familiar with what it is font. So a font is a collection of glyphs all of similar design that constitute one way to represent the characters of the language. Different fonts for the same language will typically have different glyphs to represent the same character. Yes, you know it. We can use different glyphs, different font style to represent the same character. Okay, the code positions of the glyphs are not important, as are positions of characters in a character set. For example, Times New Roman font may have the general style on Macintosh or IBM compatible PC, but the code positions of the underlying characters are significantly different on these systems after the first 128 characters. The character set differences are taken care of by the underlying system. So we can use different font style, different character style, all these things are different, and we can use the different glyphs, different style, different font style for the characters. Okay, so these are the main points relating character versus glyph. So in this topic you should have a clear knowledge about what it is character and what it is glyph. So this is enough for today's class. So we discussed the third main topic, language packs, what it is language packs in Windows 7, and we also discussed what it is the language packs in Windows 8 and 8.1. Then we started the fourth main topic, character encoding. After that we also discussed character encoding process and character versus glyph. So all of you please go through the textbook thoroughly. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.